Hello, eighth grade. What kind of car did St. Peter drive? A Chrysler. Oh, man. What kind of body wash and deodorant does St. Peter use? Acts of the Apostles. Actually, I should have used that one in Luke because Peter didn't author Acts of the Apostles. Luke did. But whatever. Peter's an apostle, so it still fits. Luke would have been a better fit for that one, though. All right, we're going to finish 2 Peter chapter 2. We got 2 slides left, so this is going to be a really short video. We are talking about the false teachers. And remember, in chapter 2, Peter goes at them. So remember, he reminds the Christians of the sins of the false teachers. He says they're greedy and they're lustful. And the false teachers deny this because the false teachers, many of whom are Gnostics, deny sin basically altogether. They think that their knowledge of God, their knowledge of Christ, has permanently shielded them from committing sins. St. Peter is saying, nope, that's not how this works. Right? The fact that Jesus died for you does not mean that you are automatically saved because of it. Right? Jesus died so that it would be possible for every human being to be saved. But of course, some people reject that offer of grace, and they are not. Right? And one way you can reject an offer of grace is doing what the Gnostics do, which is rejecting fundamental tenets of Christianity and saying that the sinful way you live your life is fine because you know in your own mind that what you're doing is not sinful, even though the church says that it is. All right. So Peter's saying that their greed and especially their lust make these false teachers like animals. All right. In addition to greed and lust, however, Peter's going to list a third sin that these false teachers commit, and this is a sin of blasphemy. And in this case, blasphemy comes from doing something called reviling the glorious ones. And this is what we learned about in the letter of Jude. So if this sounds familiar to you, it's because Jude talks about the same sin as well. So he says, they are not afraid to revile the glorious ones, whereas angels, though greater in might and power, do not pronounce a reviling judgment on them before the Lord. But these, like irrational animals, will be destroyed. So what does it mean to revile the glorious ones? Well, if you remember from the letter of Jude, Jude makes an allusion to the apocryphal book of Enoch, in which the dispute between the archangel Michael and Satan provides an opportunity for Michael to say bad things about Satan, but Michael refuses to do that. Right? And in Jude interprets this as an example of how we are supposed to behave in our relations to angels. Peter's going to take it in a similar direction. Right? So the glorious ones are angels and demons. Now, it's not really clear what Peter is saying here. It might be the case that Peter is saying that the false teachers revile the glorious ones because they don't take them seriously. So it could be that they're making fun of the angels or making fun of the demons and they're not taking them seriously, which would be a sin. Or it's also possible that these false teachers are invoking demons in order to commit the sins that they've been committing. Right? Either way, regardless of what they're doing, they're committing a sin of blasphemy against the angels. Normally, we think of blasphemy as a sin that you commit against God, and that's true. But there's a subcategory of blasphemy called reviling the glorious ones, which means mocking or abusing angelic beings, angels, because in the order of creation, angels are above human beings. So human beings do not have the right to abuse angels in this way, even fallen angels, which are demons. So it's a sin to revile an angel or demon, um, because angels are created uh, by God as higher beings than we are. Um, and not even angels will revile demons. That's the point that both Peter and Jude are making. Not even the angels do it, so we don't have the right to do it either. All right, last slide. I told you this is going to be a short video. For it would have been better for them to have never have known the way of righteousness than after knowing it to turn back. Right? So one of the ways that the false teachers are doing the damage that they're doing in the church is by targeting recent converts to Christianity, people who have just recently been baptized. Right? These are pagans who have become Christians and Jews who have become Christians. And they're fresh in their Christian faith, so their roots are not very deep. Right? Maybe their intellects are not fully formed in Christian theology. They're still learning a lot about the faith. And so this makes them vulnerable to these false teachers and the heresies that they promote. So what's happening is a lot of these false teachers are uprooting these newly converted people to Christianity, and they're pulling them out of Christianity. Right? And when they're doing this, oftentimes they're committing sins. Right? It could be the sin of apostasy if they know that what they're doing is wrong. Right? They're committing the sin of apostasy. Or it could be that they're being dragged into the kinds of sins that the false teachers are committing. So sins of greed, sins of lust, reviling the glorious ones, which again is blasphemy. So a lot of these newly baptized Christians are losing the grace that they received in baptism. They're losing it. So Peter is saying that it would have been better had they never been baptized in the first place, right? Which is true, because if you are baptized, it confers certain responsibilities or obligations or duties on you, right? You're given this gift of grace, and if you reject that grace out of sin, then that sin you commit is much more serious. It's much more it's much more damaging to your soul. So leaving the Christian church is the sin of apostasy. This happens when a baptized Christian abandons his faith. So if you're baptized and you leave Christianity, that is the sin of apostasy. It is a grave sin. And it's a really big problem in the early church. Apostasy can also happen if you maybe don't formally leave Christianity, but you start to reject the teachings of Christianity. So you say, oh, I'm Christian, but I don't really believe that Jesus rose from the dead, right? That would be a form of apostasy as well. So apostasy is really, really dangerous to individual souls and to the church. And so Peter's saying that basically, because of the sin of apostasy, it would have been better if these false teachers and recent converts who apostated were never Christians to begin with. If they had never been baptized to begin with, it would have been better for them, because the consequences of their sin are going to be much more severe because they were baptized. All right, that is it for chapter 2. Next video, we'll go over eschatology in chapter 3, right? Looks like it's going to be a couple videos to get through chapter 3. So yeah, next video will be on eschatology.